Only mode.
Hi everyone. Let's give a minute for others to join and we'll start. Thank you. Hi everyone. My name is Om Puran. I'm doing a quick mic check. So you may respond by messaging via the question button. Am I audible? All right. Okay, so let's start. My name is Om Puran and I'll be your host for today. Happy Ramadan to everyone. And may the blessings of the month of Ramadan be on all of us. And may Allah grant our prayers and fasts, which are much needed at this point of time. The COVID-19 outbreak is causing worldwide concerns and economic hardships for consumers, businesses, and communities across the globe. These are genuinely challenging spells for companies and employees in every market. As your technology partner, we want to play our role in helping your business stay agile and productive in these months and years ahead. In this regard, we thought of setting up a Discover Digital webinar series hosted by a team of industry experts. Solstice Middle East, a Yash technology company, welcomes you to the current episode of our premium webinar series. Our topic for today is app migration and modernization using Azure Cloud. We start with a quick introduction about Yash Technologies. Yash Technology is a global technology service and outsource and is a global technology provider that is committed to helping customer align the technology vision with the business strategy. We have, with a reach of over 6 continents, Yash is a leading company providing a range of services and solutions. And in the Middle East, we are headquartered in Dubai, and we are known by our subsidiary Solstice Middle East. And we are one of the leading consulting and services, IT consulting and service company. We have customers across the Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia. Let's have a quick introduction about our speaker. Our speaker for today is Paramjit Singh Uppal, who is a solution architect with Yash Technologies. He has 15 years plus experience in the IT industry and has been into architecting, designing, development, consulting and support with application development and integration. He is a seasoned expert when it comes down to the Microsoft digital platform that covers the entire Microsoft Cloud, Office 365, and SharePoint. So before I hand over the mic to Paramjit, wanted to highlight few points. Today's webinar will be available on demand after the live session. We'll be sharing you the details after the event. We are taking your questions and input. If you have any question for our speaker, please feel free to send it through the Ask a Question tab at the bottom of your player. You can see the question mark. So at the question mark, you can enter your question. We'll be answering these questions at the end of the presenter session. We have a question and answer session at the end. So without any further ado, I would like to start today's episode by welcoming Mr. Paramjit Singh Uppal. So over to you, Mr. Paramjit. Thank you.
Thanks, Om. Thanks, Om, for the quick introduction.
I hope everyone is safe and doing good. Today, I'm going to present the webinar on app migration and modernization. So as Om has already introduced me, I would like to give few points about myself. My name is Paramjit Singh Uppal. I am been working as a solution architect here at Yash Technologies. My focus area is Microsoft Digital Platform, and I cover cloud, Office 365, and SharePoint technologies in SharePoint. So let us start with our webinar today. The topic for webinar today is migrate and modernize applications on Azure platform. So before we start or decide to migrate any applications on Azure, so we have to look at what values does it bring when we are deciding upon these strategies. The first one is the agility. So by agility, I mean we need to be a future ready. We want our applications to be future ready. We want to do more experiments more quickly, and we want our applications to be extended, easily extendable. Time to market. So by time to market, here I mean is we want to have our applications to be more scalable. The applications needs to be more highly available, and we wanted to collect lots and lots of data that will help us to bring more insights and analytics to the application. The third one is the total cost of ownership. So total cost of ownership here we mean is we wanted to have the infrastructure cost to minimum and also to optimize the ongoing operations costs. IT simplification. So the processes needs to be more simplified. The processes like when we try to adopt some new technologies like DevOps or deployment processes, that needs to be more standardized. There needs to be more simplification so that we can easily develop and deliver the softwares. The last but not the least is the security. So we wanted to have our applications to be more secure on cloud platform. When we migrate our applications on cloud, so then the applications needs to be secure. The services that we are going to deploy on Azure, that needs to be secured. And also when we migrate our data from on-prem to cloud, the data and needs to be secured, should not be accessible to anyone. So we have to follow all the compliances with respect to security. So these are all values that it brings when we plan to migrate our applications from on-premises to cloud. Coming on to the next, here is the journey to the cloud app migration and modernization. So why we are calling it as a journey? Because that is not going to happen in a day or overnight. There needs to be a lot of thought process needs to go in when we are planning to decide about migrating or modernizing any applications. So there are various approaches when we talk about modernizing any application: the rehost, refactor, re-architect, and rebuild. So whenever we have any applications on-premise and we wanted to move our applications to Microsoft Azure Cloud, we will always hear few terms like IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service, containerization, and PaaS, that is platform as a service, and serverless technologies. So mostly these are the three broad main categories by which we need to decide upon how we are going to migrate our on-premise applications to cloud. We will go in detail of all these three categories and various approaches in our upcoming slides. Before we talk more details about all of these four approaches, we need to decide upon which approach we should take when we are going to migrate any applications or modernizing our applications. So we need to decide upon the strategy, whether we should go on rehosting of applications, refactoring of applications, whether we should re-architect it, or we should rebuild it from the scratch. So there are few scenarios which I have mentioned here that will help us to decide which approach we should follow. If we wanted to move our applications or the databases to the cloud, without any changes to the applications or our database schemas, we will consider our approach as rehost. The rehost is just a simple approach where we just do a lift and shift of our applications. So we wanted to reduce our capital expenditure. We wanted to minimize our infrastructure cost. Therefore, we have decided to move our applications from on-prem to cloud without any changes in the applications. The next approach is the refactoring approach. When we plan to move any applications onto the cloud, we move the applications and our database schemas to the cloud. But along with that movement, we also wanted to leverage some of the new features that are currently available on the cloud. For example, we wanted to change our authentication mechanism in our application. Say, for example, I have an authentication mechanism that is forms authentication, which is currently in my application. But when we move our applications onto the cloud, I wanted to change my application authentication using Active Directory, which is available as a platform as a services on the cloud. So that change, if I wanted to bring in my application, I need to refactor my application. So this is just one example, but there are a lot of PaaS services which are available on cloud that can be used for refactoring our applications. The third one is the re-architecting of our applications. When we plan to basically meet our scalability requirements, we wanted to make sure our applications or the services that are more scalable, or we wanted to extend our architecture, or we wanted to independently deploy our architecture over the cloud, we will consider re-architecting our applications. For example, we have a 2-tier of application, but when we move our applications on the cloud, we wanted to adopt some of the latest design patterns like microservices patterns or publisher subscriber model or the cloud design patterns. We would consider the re-architecting of our applications. So that will help us make our applications more scalable and easily deployable. The last one is the rebuilding of our applications. So when we plan to adopt some of the latest technology trends like DevOps, or we wanted to bring the artificial intelligence in our applications or use some of the latest technologies like IoT or blockchain, so cognitive services, right? So we wanted to basically build our applications from the scratch. So in that scenario, we'll rebuild our applications from the scratch using some of the technologies like platform as a service, containerization, and serverless technologies. So this helps us to decide whether we should rehost our applications, refactor it, re-architect it, or rebuild it. And this, as per the customer requirements, we can choose our strategy. So now let us go and see how we can understand each of these approach in a little bit more detail. What benefits it does brings, and what are the technologies that we use when we consider these approaches. So the first one is the rehosting of our applications. So as I earlier mentioned, the rehosting of our applications is just the lift and shift of our applications. So we have an, say for example, .NET application, which is running in an application tier on-premise, and we have a SQL Server database that is running on-premise. We wanted to move our applications from on-premise to Azure. So we can consider deploying our applications on Azure IaaS virtual machines. So we can easily create the virtual machines on Azure, and we can deploy our applications in that. In the same way, we can also have set up our Azure SQL database managed instance on cloud. So that will help us move our applications from on-premise to Azure without any changes to our applications and the databases. There may be some very minimal changes like configuration change or the connection changes, but the application can be easily lift and shift from on-premise to cloud. So this brings a lots of benefit. When we have very less time, we just wanted to move our applications on cloud. We wanted to focus more on our core businesses, and we wanted to minimize our infrastructure cost. So we can go with this approach. It also helps us to improve our business continuity and the disaster recovery of our applications. And this is one of the quickest approach that we can easily adopt for our migrating of our applications. For some of the customers, what we have observed is so the first step is when we plan to refactor our applications or re-architecting our applications, we wanted to move our applications on the cloud and make sure our business continuity is not lost. So in that sense, this approach makes a lot of sense when we are moving our applications onto the cloud. The technologies here is mostly used as the infrastructure as a services. So here I mean using virtual machine, SQL database managed instances are mostly used. Since we are using Azure infrastructure as a services, the virtual machines are completely in control of the customers and they can easily deploy the packages, patches, or they can also manage the web server easily. The next approach, that is the second approach, is the refactoring of our applications. So refactoring of our applications, as I described here, is we move our applications from on-premise to cloud, but along with that, we also do the changes of our applications. Why we need to do changes in our applications, are working very smoothly, right? The reason here is there are lots and lots of platforms as a services are available onto the cloud, which are well tested and optimized services. So instead of writing a custom code, we can change our custom code by using that platform as a services. These services help us to easily integrate and adopt new features in the applications. For example, some of the features like authentication mechanism using Active Directory, then storing your secrets or storing your configuration settings in Key Vault as a service. So these are services can be used and we can easily integrate in our applications. In a similar way, we can also combine the IaaS and platform as a service both together to refactor our applications. So what's the benefits that we get when we are using this approach? It helps to reduce lot of coding time because we are trying to avoid writing the custom code and trying to use the PaaS services which are available onto the cloud. They are easily available. They can be used as a pay as a go services, and we can basically consume the services which we need. They also help us to improve the portability and density of the applications. The technologies used in this approach are mostly the PaaS services like Azure Web Apps, API apps, SQL, Azure SQL, Azure Database Managed Instances. So these are the PaaS services that we can leverage. We can deploy our applications on the app service on Azure. The third approach here is the re-architecting of our applications. The re-architecting of our applications here, when we wanted to make our applications more scalable and easily deployable. So we wanted to change our architecture from traditional architectures to the modern architectures. So the modern architecture here, I mean, is we wanted to adopt some of the cloud design patterns which are available using Azure services. Some design patterns like microservices approach. Microservices approach using Service Fabric or using Kubernetes. So we can easily build microservices and deploy these microservices and easily manage these microservices. In a similar way, there are other cloud design patterns like publisher subscriber design pattern. So we can use the PubSub model using Azure Service Bus and easily integrate our applications or the application components. In a similar way, there are multiple design patterns which are available like CQRS design pattern, which help us to bring more performance to our applications. So what benefits does it brings when we plan to re-architect our applications? Yes, the re-architecting of our applications brings a lot of benefits, and it's considered one of the very ideal approach when we migrate our applications onto the cloud. So this helps us to improve the agility by applying innovative DevOps practices. And as I mentioned, the cloud design patterns, it helps to improve the agility and the life of our applications. The technologies used in this approach are mostly the Azure containerization, Kubernetes, Service Fabric, and various cloud design patterns, integration technologies like Service Bus, Event Hub. All these technologies can be easily used in this re-architecting of our applications. The last one is the rebuilding of our applications. So when we plan to build new applications using cloud native technologies, the technologies which are the latest and the greatest technologies like using artificial intelligence, blockchain, IoT related technologies, right? So we can go for rebuilding of our applications. The rebuilding of applications include some of the serverless technologies like Azure Functions and the Logic Apps. So we can use these technologies and build our applications. For example, here in mostly in the services, if we wanted to build, we can use the APIs to create the services, the REST APIs. But here we can also use the Azure functions to build the services and expose them as the APIs, the HTTP endpoints. So these are the new ways by which we can create the serverless applications. At the same time, we can also use the databases like Azure SQL database and the NoSQL databases like Cosmos DB, which will help to improve the scalability and the performances of the application. The technologies mostly used here is the Azure serverless technologies like Azure Functions, Logic Apps, SQL databases, Cosmos DBs, and some of the PaaS services, the integration technologies also we can use here. So along with all these four approaches of migrating and modernizing the applications, we wanted to build the applications more smarter applications. So with the smarter applications, we wanted to embed the artificial intelligence into it. We wanted to have the machine learning also embedded into it. Using some cognitive services we can use to bring the artificial intelligence. And also, for example, like we can also use a bot services or chatbot to be integrated in our applications. So these are some of the examples by which we can easily integrate the artificial intelligences and make our applications more smart. So one of the examples is the chatbot applications. So we can easily build the chatbot applications using Azure chatbot framework and the bot services which is available by the Azure, and some of the services from Azure like Q&A Maker and the LUIS services, the cognitive services that we can use, and we can easily integrate these applications in the cloud. So along with the migrations and the modernization of our applications, we not only wanted to achieve the goal of migrating and modernizing, we also wanted to achieve a goal of making the cost as minimum as possible. We wanted to optimize our cost on the cloud. So this does not starts when we have basically migrated our applications or modernized our applications. This starts with the very initial step when we start identifying the applications when we wanted to migrate our applications onto the cloud. So there are various options available by which we can optimize the cost on the cloud. So here are some of the options available which I can go through it. Like first one is the billing models. The billing model, there are multiple billing models available onto the cloud that we can use from Azure. There are free Azure billing model as well as available with yeah, obviously there will be constraints to use the PaaS services and their limitations, but we can have other models also available like pay as you go billing model and the enterprise agreement billing model. So pay as a, what's the difference between pay as a go and enterprise agreement billing model is pay as you go, you do not fix a limit or the usage, you do not define that. You consume the service and you pay for it to the Microsoft. The enterprise agreement, you define a usage that you are going to use, the Azure cloud usage that you are going to use over an year or over the period of 2 to 3 years. You commit it to the Microsoft and you buy an enterprise agreement license from Microsoft and use Azure accordingly. So these help us to optimize our cost, because enterprise agreements brings lots of discounts to the customers. The second one is, whenever we define our approach or we define our solution over the cloud, we have to go through each and every service and their pricing options available on the cloud. So there are multiple services available, and we can basically achieve our goal using multiple services. For example, suppose I have to use the storage on the cloud. So there are multiple storages that are available on the cloud, like file storage, blob storage, table storage. So all these storages, I can store my data and my files. But as per the need of the customer and the right pricing, I can decide upon what storage I should choose, and accordingly I can select my storage options. Similarly, we have some cost management tools also available that is integrated on Azure portal, that is Azure Cost Management. We can easily analyze and manage our cost on Azure when we are in the development phase itself. How the services are being consumed, how much it is charging, the services are charging, we can analyze those charge. We can also set up the alerts. We can also define the budgets onto the Azure portal, and also set up the limits using this Azure Cost Management. The last one is the optimizing our costs. There are multiple ways of doing that. That is Azure Hybrid Benefits, Azure Reservations, and proper sizing of VMs. Azure Hybrid Benefits helps us to bring our on-premise licenses to the cloud. Say, for example, customer is already having the SQL Server license, which is there onto the on-premise. So the customer can use the same license onto the clouds as well. Azure Reservations. So Azure Reservations, reserving of the instances onto the cloud. So when we see our vision that this application will be running 24/7 or will be running for the next 1 year or 2 years onto the cloud, so we can also fix and set up our reservations onto the cloud for our instances. This will also help us to reduce the cost when we commit that we are going to use the same instance for the next period of 1 to 3 years. Proper sizing of the VMs. We can easily do the proper sizing of the VM if we define the load of our applications and decide when is the peak time when the users are going to use the applications, or when the application will be up and running most of the time throughout the day. So accordingly, we can make sure our proper sizing of the VMs are done. The last here is the security and managing our cloud environment. So as I mentioned, right, so we wanted to make our applications more secure onto the cloud. We are moving the customers' data onto the cloud. We are moving the applications on the cloud. So we wanted to make the customers' application and the data more secure way, and the users can easily consume in a more secure way. So for that, we have to adopt the industry leading practices of the security, make sure it is security compliant. We need to protect our data onto the cloud on the SQL Server, Azure SQL, and also we need to make sure the proper access to the services and the data. We can also set up the rollback access policies onto the cloud, and we can set up the governance onto the Azure. So there are multiple options are available by which we can set up the governance on Azure. We can also monitor the application's health or the database health using various tools that are available onto the cloud using Azure Monitor Log Analytics and Azure Application Insights. These tools help us to track our health and the performance of the of the cloud applications and the infrastructure and the data. This collects lots of data also from the applications and the databases, which will help us to bring the rich insights. With this, I would like to share one of the case study that we have used, use case that we have developed for one of the customer and help them in migrating and modernizing their applications onto the cloud. So this is for one of the leading global manufacturer who are mostly into the mostly into the building of commercial vehicle suspensions and their components. So they have their supplier portal, which is already running on the on-premises in their data center, and they have a database which is SQL Server database, which is running on their on-premise data center. They wanted to move their application as well as the database onto the cloud on Azure. So because of various business reasons of cost optimization, to be more extendable for the future and use of various PaaS services, as well as integrating various new technologies like artificial intelligence and the chatbot features. So the first step that we took here in migrating these applications onto the cloud is the lift and shift approach. The first, we migrated our applications and the databases onto the cloud, and also migrated the users which are there on the on-premise Active Directory to the Azure Active Directory. So we used Visual Studio 2017 to basically take the code from the supplier portal and help us to deploy on the Azure using on the Azure Web Apps. For migrating the data from the on-premise SQL Server to the cloud Azure SQL, we have used Data Migration Assistant that help us to identify or the compatibility of the schema and move the data schema and the data from the source to the destination. We also have used a tool Azure AD Connect for basically synchronizing the users from on-premise Active Directory and domain service to the Azure Active Directory. So once we have moved the applications onto the cloud, we have got an opportunity to modernize that application using some of the latest technologies and the features which are already available on the cloud, like storing the confidential informations, secret keys on the Azure services like Key Vault, and also the changing of authentication mechanism by authenticating the users with Azure Active Directory. Since the users are already migrated to the Azure Active Directory, the application needs to be authenticated using the users which are available in the Azure Active Directory on cloud. This help us to capture lots and lots of data on Azure SQL DB and help us to bring the Power BI reports over the top of the data which is available on the cloud. We have also integrated the Power BI reports integrated with the applications. So similarly, these are many features that we have removed the custom code and adopted using the services which are already available on the Azure. Along with that, there was a requirement to build a chatbot which will help to resolve the queries of the suppliers, and suppliers can come to the supplier portal where they can ask those queries and the bot should be able to resolve those queries. So this is a FAQ-based supplier chatbot that we have created using the technologies that are available on Azure, like Azure Chatbot Framework and Azure Bot Service, that help us to build this chatbot for supplier portal. Once the chatbot was created, and then we integrated this chatbot with the supplier portal and deployed over the web app. So this is how we have used multiple Azure PaaS services and basically refactor the application. Thank you everyone for attending this webinar. Please feel free to have questions. I will be happy to answer all the questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Paramjit. That was pretty informative and insightful. I'm sure that this is one of the pertinent topics for today, and choosing a migration and a modernization strategy, and how important it is to know about all different migration tools and the techniques as well as the guidance. I'm sure our audience would certainly be benefited knowing about these, and this is certainly helps them in making a decision. Now, as you mentioned that we are moving on to our next session, that is question and answer. So let me read out few of the questions which have come to us by the audience. I'll start with the first question. That is, what is the difference between the PaaS and serverless technology? Paramjit, your
Okay,
answer,
sure.
please. Yeah.
Sure. So the difference between the PaaS services and the serverless technologies. So there are multiple differences here, but I would like to list some of the key differences. Like PaaS services that requires only that has only the manual scaling option. So it does not have an automated scaling, but we can set up the automated scaling using some of the parameters on the PaaS services, but still it has the manual scaling that is considered. But for the serverless, we have the automated scaling done. So if we are using Azure functions or the logic apps that are automatically scales as the load on the those services get increased. So these are the differences. And another difference is the serverless services, we have the consumption based. We wanted to use we use the serverless services like Azure functions and logic apps on the consumption basis. So whatever we have used, it is like we have to pay only for that. But for the PaaS services, even we are not using the PaaS services, but it is there up and running, or it is not running, then also basically it will be charged. Yeah, we can take up the next question, please.
Thanks, Paramjit. Next question, again, it is pretty similar. How is the IaaS services can be utilized along with the PaaS services? Yes, Paramjit, your
Sure.
views, please.
Yeah. So IaaS services is the infrastructure as a services, and PaaS are the platform as a services. So when we wanted to leverage the benefits of both IaaS as a service and PaaS as a service, we can have those benefits done. Mostly it is used in the refactoring of the applications. So when we wanted to move our applications and the databases onto the cloud, but we wanted to deploy our applications on some of the PaaS services, like as a web app on an app service, we can do that, and we can use the PaaS services. But we wanted to basically move our databases on premise to the cloud, but at the same time there are, say for example, some limitations. We wanted to go use SSRS reports, or we wanted to use some of the ETL jobs. We wanted to basically use some triggers which are not available as a PaaS service like Azure SQL. We may still wanted to continue as a SQL Server databases on Azure. So that we can use as an infrastructure as a service, and we can deploy our SQL Server and use as a managed instance. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Thanks, Paramjit. So we have another question. It is, can Oracle SAP system or application move to Azure? And with that, there is a continuing question. What is the cost benefit?
Okay. Yes, we can move the Oracle systems as well as on Azure. So there are options available by which we can we have the services by which we can move it. And the cost benefits, yeah, that we need to see whether it has the cost benefits or not. And when we are talking about deploying the managed Oracle system or using as a service. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Paramjit. So I move on to the next question, which is what are the benefits that enterprise agreement license type brings?
Okay. So the enterprise agreement license, there are multiple benefits of using enterprise agreements on Azure. The first benefit is as I mentioned covered in my presentation, the first benefit is like the discounts that we are going to get it from the Microsoft, because we are basically committing some amount that is predefined that the customer is going to use it on Azure. So definitely we are going to get the discounts offers from Microsoft. Along with that, we get some of the discounts from using hybrid benefits, using Azure reserved instances on Azure, and also there are some of the benefits of using the VM resizing, and so basically, yeah, yes, we get some of the key benefits basically for doing the cost optimization on Azure. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So next, this question. So how is Azure addressing the multi-location availability when compared with AWS, compared with the multi-locations of AWS?
Okay. So yes, we have the Azure has a lot of data centers in multiple regions and in multiple countries and multiple regions. So definitely we can deploy our applications in the multiple locations, and also route the traffic from the users traffic based upon their locations to those applications. For there are some of the features that are available on Azure, like Azure Traffic Manager is available, which will help us to route the applications from for that particular region. So say for example, I have two regions, region A and region B. I deploy my applications at both the regions, and I set up my traffic manager where whenever the users that are basically coming from region A can be redirected to region A web app, and the users that are coming from region B, they can be redirected to the B1. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Paranjit. Just to add, Microsoft has data centers in Abu Dhabi and Dubai at present. So all these regional challenges, I hope they won't be no longer there. So with this, I move on to the next question. So just a second. How to migrate legacy Windows desktop application to Azure Cloud?
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. So there are a lot of legacy Windows applications that are already running, like WinForms applications or WPF applications. So the only way by which we can move is the infrastructure as a service, because these services basically needs to be deployed onto a virtual machine. So those only is the option, but mostly these applications needs to be rebuilt using as a web applications and then deploy it on the cloud.
Yeah, thanks, Paramjit. So I know there are a lot of questions which are there, but maybe we are running out of time. I'll just take a last question. Just a second. Okay. Okay, this is a continuation of the question which came for with regard to the multi-location. Is it dynamically handled off the routing, or you have to host in all location?
We have to host the applications on multiple regions, and also we need to host the databases in our multiple regions. We need to configure our primary database and the secondary databases in those regions. And also we need to manage the traffic manager. Basically, we need to configure our traffic managers that help us in the routing. So the databases basically can be taken it automatically using by configuring the geolocations. But for applications, we need to configure the traffic manager to route the applications to these regions.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Paramjit. I hope this has answered the question, and we still have a few of the questions unanswered. We are going to reply on an email with the answer to the questions which have been posted by our audience. Now, with this, we come to an end of today's session, as well as this particular session of question and answer. And I would like to invite our digital practice head, Mr. Gautam Gupta. So he has been attentively listening to the thought process of Mr. Paramjit, as well as hearing up the questions which have been put by the audience. So I would like to invite him to do the vote of thanks and close the session. Mr. Gautam. Just checking. Gautam, would you like? Are you able to hear us? I'm just trying to get Gautam on air. For some reason, I'm not able to connect. We are not able to connect with Gautam. So anyway, so he has been there. He has been attentively listening to all the conversation. So maybe let me do the vote of thanks on the behalf of the complete team out here. I would like to especially thank Mr. Paramjit for providing insightful and in-depth information on the topic app migration and modernization. We all know that moving data and infrastructure to Azure is such a kind of a painful job, and using proven cloud migration technique and knowing about the various ways of doing it and the guidance is very vital for today in today's context. The right migration strategy will certainly depend on your organizational needs and priorities and the kind of application you are migrating. So maybe, and this particular webinar has been planned to help you understand your option in improving and modernizing the existing applications into Azure. And we want to make this series meaningful, and we welcome your feedback. And if you have any comments or queries on the topic, please share them with us. So we'll be sharing our email ID for the communication, and we'll be getting back to you with the answers. So with this, I would like to close today's episode of this particular webinar, and thank you so much for joining. Have a nice day to everyone. Thank you.